Okay, for the show as your project. 20 minutes, is that too much? 15 minutes? 10 minutes. Well, I don't, okay. Yeah. 10 minutes is not going to be enough for me. 15 minutes. That's those crazy Europeans. Okay, so I'm not going to show any project, but today we were talking about when Leandro said it's good to see how the code of the system is written, and we completely agree on that. If we do a select in Smalltalk, it's very easy to understand how it works. You can see it here. Yeah, it copies, it creates a new collection where it's going to put everything that you select. Yeah, and then it does a do. It iterates on it and verifies if for that element the object, complies to the condition. And if it's so, or in this case it doesn't. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Okay. So if it does, it adds to the new collection. So it's pretty simple to understand. This is good code. Yeah. But now I'm going to show you the same thing in Java. Why not? Why not? Why so big? Wait a minute. You see why I need more than 7 minutes? Scale. Okay. Confirm. How does it? Does it read? Can you read it? Yeah. Can you see it? Okay, cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is filter. Filter is like a select, okay? So let's debug this. So in Java 8, there's no direct message to the collection. You have to create a stream, and from the stream, you can do a select or map or a filter or whatever. So I'm going to do the filter, this is select, and okay, so now go. Okay, first it verifies that the condition is not null, and then it returns an stateless op. And that's all. So that's the first weird stuff. And well, the reason is it doesn't work. I mean, in Java 8, collections are more like streams. So when you do a filter, it doesn't do anything until you do something with the result. That's why I have this for each here that is going to go through the result. For each is like a do for us. No, it's okay because it's the for each. Oh, sorry. This is the for each after the filter. Okay? So create the stream, creates the filter object, op, what, no, what, and this is going to be fun. For each evaluates for each ops. It's not op, it's ops. Oops. Again, checks for null, it creates this for each op. I'm not going to go inside there. And then evaluates it. And when evaluates it, are you following me? Are you? Okay. It asserts that the shape of the output is going to be the same as the shape of the input. Well, if you consume the stream, it's not okay. If you're doing this in parallel or not, then it evaluates and sequential or in parallel and gets the op flags. We're still doing the filter, okay? And then it creates a source spectrator.
I understand why you asked for 20 minutes.
Okay, so it creates the source splitterator. I don't know what it's doing here. It checks again if it is parallel or not. And okay, and returns the source splitterator, and then evaluates in sequence. Okay, here we go. Helper. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, very close to the. Okay, it verifies that it's not null, and send the message wrap sync. Verifies again it's not null, just in case, and now creates an op wrap sync that this. I'm still doing the filter, okay? I don't know what this is. So, well, you can understand what I mean. And then it copy. Okay, here it goes. So now it's going to do the for each. So it begins, whatever, and for each remaining element. Okay, cool. So I think we are here. Yeah. Now that's where it verifies if it holds to the condition. In Java, that means that's. Yeah. I made it. And after that, if it's true, it adds to the, here it's going to be true, so it's going to add it to the new collection. Okay, so. No, I just want to say it's a great idea what you said, but only for Smalltalk. Don't do it with Java. Don't look the code in Java, okay? You want, I mean, do it if you want to know what you don't have to do, okay? Okay, that was the first part. The second part, how much time do I have? 8 minutes. Okay. The second part is about refactoring, because we talk a lot about refactoring, so I wanted to show some examples of refactoring. So, I don't know if I'm going to do it correctly. No, it's not this one. This one. Okay. So imagine, can you see the code, or is it too small? Is it good enough to read? Yeah? No? Let me change that. Fonts. Large. Let's see now. I think it's not good enough, isn't it? Bigger, or is it okay? Okay. Okay, so import customer. So suppose that you have a coworker that left the company, and they gave you this part of code that imports customers from a separated, comma-separated file into your database. Okay? And of course, this guy was a great programmer. That's why he never wrote tests. He never made mistakes. And he didn't believe on, for him, being clear was to put everything in one page, in one method. That's it. Yeah, it's a top. It's a go to the top to the bottom. Yeah. So as you can see, he opens a file that, of course, why are you going to parameterize that? I mean, it's input text, and he creates the database session with all the mappings, and opens the session, begins the transaction, and while there is some line to read, from the file, if the line begins with C, it means customer, then it maps that record to a customer and persists that in the database. If the line begins with A, it creates the address record and creates a new address added to the customer and goes to the next line, and while he's done, commits, close the input string. No. Yeah, do it. Yeah, it's real. It's here. It's real. Haven't you ever found something like this? It's representative, that's right. That's right. So how do you maintain this? So the first thing you have to do is to create a test to verify that works. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a test. It's not a good idea to code when you have import customer. Okay, and my test, what it's going to do is to, make the import. I don't care about the name. Customer, import, customers. So, okay, now I have the test, I run it, but this is not really a test because it doesn't have any assertion. Yes? So, the only thing I can see is that it didn't throw any exception. So, now I want to write an assertion. The input file is this one. It's not big enough, but it has a customer, two address, a customer and another address. So the first assertion I could write is there are two customers that were imported. Okay? That could be a first assertion, not that one. So self-assert. And now the problem is, how do I get the objects from the database? So I need the session. But if I want to get to the session, I need to do all this. Yes, I mean I have to create the mappings and then I have to open the session because remember, this is closing the session. So I have to do all that in the test. So what you do in this case is you move, when you have something that you want to test and is very coupled, one of the things that you can do is to move that method, in this case, to the test. Because it's going to be in a place where you will have more control of what's going on. So this is the first refactoring I'm going to use is the move. Yeah. In Smalltalk, sadly, the move is not very nice implemented. You have to have a place to move it, and that has to be or an instance variable or a parameter, an object where it's going to move your code. So I created that instance variable, and now I'm going to do a move, and it asks you, well, okay, where do you want to move it? I want to move it to import customer test. Okay? And the name of the new message, import customers. So what it did, the code that was here, now it moved it to the test, and here left the message send. Okay? This is just a trick because nobody is using import customer, but just in case somebody was using import customer, this means that everything is going to continue working. Okay? For example, in Eclipse, in Java, when you move the code, you have the possibility to erase the current method. That would be a good idea. It's not here. So now, for some reason, it moved it to the instance variable. It should have moved it to instance side. It should have moved it to the class side. But anyway, it is here. So, if I run the test, it's going to fail because I didn't initialize test in the customer class. But anyway, now it's working. So what I'm going to do now is I want session. No, I didn't do that. I want session to be able to be reached from the test. So another refactoring I'm going to do is convert the local variable session to an instance variable. So that's the temporary to instance variable. So that creates an instance variable session and remove it from the method. So everything should work fine. This is a refactoring. And now what I'm going to do is an extract method of all this session initialization. I'm going to extract it to setup. Okay. So I move it to the setup. We know that the setup is evaluated before each test, so I don't really need the setup here. If I run the test, everything should be fine. So now from the test, I can get to the session, self-assert, session, select of type. This is a database, okay? Customer size equals 2, okay? So now that I have my first assertion, it fails. It fails because there is no transaction. What? That's right. Great. Hey, man. So I'm going to do the second struct method. I'm going to put this.
It's all right.
We can discuss that later, but no. Okay, time is up. 5 more minutes. There, yeah? Okay, so tear down. Again, I have to remove the message sign here, from here. Okay. Cool. So now I have at least my first test that is verifying that 2 customers were imported. So how would I continue? Well, I have this file with that information, so the next, what? Delete the file. Well, that's something you can do, yeah. It's not a good idea to have references to files from tests. So, but what I'm going to show you is, yeah, I think this is the one. Come on. So this would be the test, okay? It's a big one that verifies that you have 2 customers, and one customer that is identified this way is Pepe Sanchez, blah, 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 and that customer has the addresses that it should have, etc. But of course, this is not easy to understand. So one of the things that we can do is to start structuring all these parts of the test that are separated by spaces and start to verify these cases. In this case, this is an assertion. We can create a assert. 2 customers were imported. I don't know. Then we can see here that I'm looking for a customer whose ID type is D, ID number is that one, and then I'm doing the same here, but with different parameters. So what I'm going to do is an struct method of this, but it doesn't allow me because I'm using this customer variable that is already used. I think here is the problem. So I'm going to remove that, be sure everything works, and now try to do the struct method again. Well, yeah, there is a problem. I don't remember which one it is, so I'm going to comment all the access to that variable, and now struct method should work, please. Yeah. So customer identified as. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I want to parameterize the. It should be running. Yeah. So I want to parameterize this, the D and the number. Okay. Sadly, Smalltalk doesn't have an create parameter from other languages. You can select, something and then say create a parameter for this. So I have to do an add parameter, but I'm going to do a trick. I'm going to copy this. Come on. And now add parameter. And when you add a parameter, you can define the default object that is going to use in every place that message is being sent. By default, it proposed nil, but I want to be D. So what it does in the test is going to say customer identified as D, and now here I receive that object that is the ID type, and I can remove that and check that everything works fine. And the same for this. So anyway, a parameter. Okay. Sadly, I have to do this by hand. And now I can verify that everything continues working. So next step is to assert that Pepe Sanchez was loaded correctly. Okay, so anyway, and this should be in the bottom. This is not a refactoring, and now let's see that everything works. Yeah. Extract method and assert Juan Perez was imported correctly. Okay. Yeah, a little bit better. Of course, there are a lot of things to improve here. Let me load the okay, so it will get something like this. The test would be assert blah blah blah, the customer was imported correctly, this one was imported correctly, the other one was imported correctly, and of course the assertions Juan Perez was imported correctly is get the customer identified as, assert that this customer was imported correctly with this address, and so on. Okay, but let me go a little bit with this. This is still a mess, isn't it? So I'm going to convert this class to a method object. A method object is an object that all the local state to the method is going to be local to the object. So basically you won't have parameters, you won't have local variables. So the first thing I have to change is I want this message to not to have parameters. So this is not easy to do in Smalltalk. I mean, there is no refactoring to do that. You have to do it by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create instance creation message. Okay, and well, I could do this. What? Yeah, sorry, this takes a little bit. Okay, so now I have that. Well, how do I use those instance variables? So the easy way is to, okay, compiles. So now I go to the import, and instead of doing the new, I initialize the importer and send the message value. So let's see if everything works. Yeah, it's working. So now let's do the real work. Well, for example, line. I want line again to be an instance variable, and I want new customer also to be an instance variable. Okay, the problem here, oh no, there you go. So everything should be still should be working fine, yeah. So this is, I don't know if you, what's the problem with this? I mean, why? The problem is I wrote the example in Java and I translated it to Smalltalk, okay? Because instead of doing line not nil, I could do input string at n, y false, you know, a better.
Time's up.
Okay. So we have, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.